I love men as well, but I think it's always a great opportunity for another woman to stand up.
Payroll taxes, taxing, business, small business, because I'm a small business owner.
Are you looking for someone with business experience?
That would be nice.
Also weighing in, political insider Rocky Ratchkovsky stressing the importance of someone who can win in Macomb County.
Macomb County really represents all of Michigan. You've got conservatives, you've got Democrats, you've got everybody living in Macomb County.
He points to the county's executive being among those who can connect with voters.
Mark Hackel's the type of person that says, let's work for the people, let's solve the issues, and let's move our nation forward.
Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan officially says he will not run for Senate. Political experts say candidates are expected to start announcing plans to run in the next few weeks. From Southfield, Simon Shakette, 7 Action News.
Certainly a big deal. Thank you so much, Simon. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is set to receive one of the nation's highest civilian honors. It will come tomorrow when President Biden honors 12 people to mark the 2-year anniversary of the deadly January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. The White House says those 12 people will receive the Presidential Citizens Medal for showing courage and selflessness during the 2020 election. Honorees include law enforcement officers injured that day, as well as poll workers and lawmakers. Benson faced pressure in Michigan from those seeking to overturn the election results. That includes armed protesters right outside her home.
Police have identified a juvenile suspect accused of creating a noose from paper towels. The incident happened last week at a Panera Bread restaurant in downtown Grosse Pointe. Police say the investigation is still ongoing and that a warrant request will be sent to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
All right, we're going to turn now to the forecast, and it is starting to feel more like January, Dave.
Yeah, a little rain snow mixture out there right now. It's fairly light, but as we continue to drop these numbers this evening, more snow than anything else. I'll let you know if it's going to stick.
All right, Dave, thanks. Also, electrifying the future. What we're learning about the all-new EV Ram truck that was just unveiled moments ago in Las Vegas. Plus,
caught on tape mocking the Attorney General's elder abuse task force. Who did it and what it means for the fight to reform guardianship in Michigan.
Now to that shakeup with the Michigan Supreme Court clerk. Pete Martell's resignation coming after harsh criticism from Justice Richard Bernstein.
Martell served 14 years in prison for robbing a store in Flint and shooting at police officers. He was released back in 2008 and has since turned his life around.
Martell earned his law degree from Wayne State University and was hired by Justice Kyra Harris Bolden to serve as a law clerk.
7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham has more on the shakeup.
I felt strongly about this issue. I felt that it had to be addressed.
On the phone with me, Michigan Supreme Court Justice Richard Bernstein, agreeing to an interview. The topic, the hiring of an ex-convict by another judge, newly elected Justice Kyra Harris Bolden, as her Supreme Court clerk.
Ultimately, when we talk about redemption and when we talk about second chances, we all believe in that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you get to have whatever job you want.
Peter Martell, a formerly incarcerated man, turned his life around. He had spent 14 years in prison for robbing a store in the Flint area and shooting at police officers. The crime happened in 1994. He left prison in 2008, and he changed his life for the better, obtaining a law degree from Wayne State University. As a law clerk for the Michigan Supreme Court, Martell would have researched cases and provide input on opinions. However, Bernstein said he was disgusted by that choice, and he believes certain jobs are off limits after certain life choices are made.
Once you decide that you're going to shoot at police, I think that no matter what you do in terms of your redemption or those kinds of things, there's lots of other opportunities.
This afternoon, following much criticism, Martell resigned. I had spoken with him briefly prior to that resignation, uncertain if he should speak on the issue. I didn't hear back. Bolden's office released a statement through the court saying, quote, "I have accepted Pete Martell's resignation. He did not want to be a distraction or in any way divert the court from its important work. I respect his decision and do not intend to comment further," end quote. I also spoke with Alexandria Hughes with Michigan Liberation, where she's the Supreme Court coordinator and community activist.
I trust Kyra Bolden's ability to hire the right people for this job. And with the experience he brings as an advocate and seeing both sides of being incarcerated, being on the inside, but also bringing that personal experience, his background into it, and how he has turned his life around. I think that would have been a great element for the Michigan Supreme Court.
Darren Cunningham, 7 Action News.
Well, it was supposed to be bipartisan legislation that would help people in our state who are most at risk of being taken advantage of.
But instead of sailing through the state legislature, several proposed guardianship reforms have stalled. The 7 investigators have been exposing problems in Michigan's guardianship system since 2017.
Well, tonight, 7 investigator Heather Catallo exposes the powerful group who helped derail the promised reforms.
In Michigan, if a court declares you legally incapacitated, a judge can appoint a guardian for you, which means you can no longer make your own legal, medical, or financial decisions. Back in 2021, the Attorney General's Elder Abuse Task Force helped launch bipartisan bills designed to better protect people who are put under guardianship. But those bills never got signed into law, thanks in part to professional guardians who did not want the same changes.
This is not a system designed to help. This is prison. They took my mom before I knew it.
For 5 years, the 7 investigators have been exposing problems in Michigan's guardianship system.
It's disgusting. Our elderly people shouldn't be a commodity and shouldn't be able to be trafficked by these people.
A judge appointed a professional guardian instead of a family member for Gretchen Summers' Aunt Barb and Uncle Bob back in 2018.
Kept them hostage, took them from their families, locked them behind a 6.5-foot privacy fence, and just drained their estate, researched how to sell off their property.
The guardian billed Bob and Barb's estate for more than $376,000 in fees.
We do want a more transparent guardianship system.
Our investigations helped fuel new reforms crafted by Attorney General Dana Nessel's Elder Abuse Task Force. And in 2021, after years of work, they introduced 4 bills to change the state law.
And we felt as though it would completely change the face of protection of seniors in Michigan.
Here are a few of the things the bills would have mandated. Certification for professional guardians. Judges would have to better explain on the record why they're appointing a professional guardian instead of a family member. And they would have increased the number of times guardians have to visit their wards.
We should be ashamed at how we treat the elderly in this state.
But the bills did not get signed into law. One of the biggest opponents, the Michigan Guardianship Association, a nonprofit advocacy group for professional guardians.
The Guardianship Association especially kept moving the goalpost. So whenever they would bring up a point, and it seemed like a legitimate point, and that point would get addressed, they would say, well, that's not good enough. What about this other thing?
Even though members of the Michigan Guardianship Association, or MGA, were on the Elder Abuse Task Force, the 7 investigators have discovered audio recordings and photos that reveal just how hard the association was working against the legislation. These are pictures taken of a PowerPoint presentation at the MGA's April 2022 conference. You can see in the presentation, their lobbyist, Robert Kennedy, refers to Nessel's task force as the Attorney General's task farce. This is how Kennedy described it in a recording provided to us by someone who attended the conference.
No, that's supposed to say farce, not farce. So it's the AG's task force, as I call it. This has nothing to do with elder abuse. This has nothing to do with reforming the practice of guardianship. In our AG's opinion, reform means put you out of business.
During his update about the proposed bills, Kennedy told MGA members how they were constantly calling legislators, and he had other choice words for the task force that's comprised of more than 130 assistant attorney generals, members of the Michigan Supreme Court, and senior citizen advocates.
So, Elder Abuse Task Force, you've heard about it, you've read about it. It's like a circus or a judge comes to your town once in a while.
After we played the recordings for the AG, she removed the MGA representatives from her task force.
For them to call this a farce instead of what it is, which is a very well-intentioned effort to protect as many seniors as possible, is galling. And I hope they're happy they're not going to have a say in this task force anymore.
I don't think the task force is a task farce. I found the members who I dealt with and the Attorney General's office to be very helpful and to be very realistic.
Republican House Representative Graham Filler sponsored the legislation and plans to help introduce the bills again.
After talking truth to what we were working on and some of the compromises we made, we did vote it out of the House Judiciary Committee with bipartisan support. I have confidence going forward that I can find the support in the next caucus.
The Michigan Guardianship Association declined to comment on the task force statements. Their lobbyist released a written statement to us that says in part his use of the word farce, quote, has nothing to do with the work of the task force. There are many good people in the group. He said his reference was related to the name of the task force and said it should have been called the Guardianship Elimination Task Force. The MGA lobbied to have their own bills requiring certification introduced last summer, but those failed as well. The Attorney General says no one wants to eliminate guardians, but those who've lost precious time with loved ones under guardianship say reform does need to happen.
Something has to be done.
Those aren't the only recordings we've obtained of a Michigan Guardianship Association conference. Coming up tonight at 11, you'll see what a probate judge who assigns guardianships told the professional guardians and why the Attorney General is questioning the message he was sending. I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News.
Stellantis is in the spotlight of the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas tonight.
The automaker just revealed the Ram 1500 or Evolution concept. It is our first glimpse of the battery-powered electric truck.
The company says it will be more productive and powerful than any truck it's ever built. A version of the Ram Rev will go into production in 2024.
That's pretty cool looking, isn't it? Kind of sleek.
Pretty
Sharp.
cool looking.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's turn now to the forecast. This is a live look over campus, Marcia's Park, where despite the rain and drizzle, a number of people still out there on the ice having fun on this Thursday. It looks so beautiful with all the lights.
And going to feel a little more seasonal coming up?
Yeah, I think so. Now, it's not extreme. It's not like right around Christmas time when we got so cold and had all that wind, but we're just kind of come down to reality a little bit after the last couple days that have been very, very warm, obviously. It is snow on the west side of lower Michigan, and it's mostly rain around here. However, that is starting to change a little bit. Our temperatures are slowly but surely dropping down, and that helps things change over. So if you watch, there's more green east side than west side. Here's US 23 from there west. It's mostly light snow. Even the rain showers here aren't particularly heavy, a little steadier in the city right now than anywhere else. It's going to kind of swing southwest to northeast through the area. It's the same system that's been hanging around here for 4 or 5 days. 40 in Detroit, 34 in Howe and Ann Arbor, 33 in Adrian. So that's kind of the spread. Obviously more 30s than anything else around here. It's a little warmer in the city, which is typically the case. But what I'm not worried about are the roads this evening. They will stay just wet. When it gets to the temperatures around 32, 33, that's kind of where they hold for late this evening and overnight tonight. It is certainly colder to the north and west of us, but this real cold air, northern Minnesota, across the northern Great Lakes, it's moving east, not so much to the south or southeast for us. So our temperatures, again, even though they come back down to reality, are not going to be horribly bad on the backside of the system. So here's noon tomorrow. It's on its way out. If you're going to be going out 94, 96, you might get a couple snow showers in the west side of lower Michigan. Around here, maybe a few flurries with the clouds. I think there'll be a lot of clouds tomorrow. But then there's some better hope here for a little sunshine for the weekend. Here's noon Saturday. See how the clouds are starting to break up a little bit? And if you look at Sunday, not so bad either. Now, these are thicker clouds in terms of a little bit more coverage, but they're high clouds from the north side of the system down around Cincinnati. So the sun will be able to kind of punch through there a little bit. So partly sunny both Saturday and Sunday. If you're looking for the marquee time, I think it's probably Saturday afternoon's the best part of the weekend. We got Green Bay, right? We're going up to Green Bay. Go Lions. It is an 8:20 start. Lambeau Field in January could be horrible, but not this year. Temperatures in the 20s. It's dry. There's not much wind. Wind chill's not a big factor. So it's not like a balmy inside the dome at Ford Field, but it is not typical horrific Green Bay weather there. So go Lions. 32 tonight in Detroit. Light snow showers taper down as we go along. And then tomorrow, clouds, a few flurries here and there. There's not a whole bunch of wind, about 10 miles an hour. 38 in Detroit, not much different in the suburbs there with the clouds. Peak or two of sunshine Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We've even got some low 40s next week, so that's not so bad. As we get our next chance of snow after tonight, that goes all the way till the end of next week.
Mike, you included the Lions there.
Yeah, and they'll be happy with that weather forecast, I would think.
Absolutely. Jamal Williams himself said he loves himself some cold football, and I hope they do, because that's what's coming. I did spend some time in the Lions locker room today after practice, and Jamal Williams, a soundbite machine as always. This thing he had to say, though, about staying or leaving Detroit, you all want to hear it. Pretty good stuff coming up. The Lions are prepped for prime time against the Packers. Mike Tirico and the Sunday Night Football crew were at Allen Park today. They're doing interviews and recording the player intros. The rookies, Aiden Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, speak for the rest of the Lions when saying that excited is an understatement.
I would say we're ready for game Sunday. Sunday night is big lights on. We're just going to see who won it more. Like I said earlier, I feel like my guy's ready for sure.
I'm just so excited, man, to be prime time, to do my intro here pretty soon for Sunday Night Football. It's going to be everything about being a primetime game and being one of those primetime teams is something that I think playing for the Lions that I want to get used to.
We'd like to get used to it too. Jamal Williams is only 6 yards shy of a 1,000-yard season, and he has the chance to reach the 1,000-yard milestone on his former field in Green Bay, where he spent 4 years. Since coming to the Lions, Jamal Williams has become a fan favorite, and today he told us he's quite fond of Detroit as well. His intentions for the future of staying or leaving, he made it very clear.
You said, do I want to come back? Yeah. Let me think about it. Spent 2 years here. I'm doing great. Do I want to come back? Do I want to come back to more blessings and actually be good? Let me think about that one. That's your answer.